Yeah, I'm going to bring the...
So Harold speaks first?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're a television director, right?
Occupationally.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm a male, Caucasian,
Caucasian, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
and a mammal.
Yes. Comedian.
Not necessarily.
Really.
To some people.
Well, I hope we're going to just be able to get this done. And I don't know why that XD cam didn't work. I'm going to have to figure that out after if we can from the people. Welcome very much to Conversation. A dear friend of mine for 1,000 years ago, it seems now, but many long years he's been involved in my life in a way that we lost touch a little bit, but we're back in touch now, and that's John Stein.
Whatever his name is.
Whatever his name is John Steinmetz, of course. Yeah, we know each other very well, and I just got a little. Yeah, but he's got an interesting story to tell, and it's going to involve things in the world of television. He was a television director with major networks and other
what
things.
What do you mean was?
Was,
is. My life over already?
Okay. Right, okay. Anyway, John, welcome, okay?
Thank you.
Now, talk about yourself, okay? You were born and raised. Let's talk a little bit about born and raised in your life, and then I think of you as having been a director within national television circles and so forth.
Correct.
But share a little bit your own background.
Okay, I would say, ich bin ein Berliner. That's how I define myself. I was born in Berlin, and I spent the first 6 years of my life in Berlin. So my concepts are that of a Prussian, of a Berliner.
Right.
And I like it that way, and I like to live my life that way.
Okay, I'm not sure what that means, but okay,
maybe
you spell it out.
Precisely, definite, no ambiguities.
I see. Really? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a Prussian thing, you think? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, those are features that are good if you're a director, as you know.
Yes.
But
when you direct, most people think there's a big creative thing there, but it's not. The most important thing for a television director is to be precise.
Okay, well that's exactly the features you have
Correct.
in your background. Okay,
yes.
And you were made for it, right? So what was your early life like and everything, if you could? And then how did you you've been in New York a long time, but...
Yes, the first 6 years of my life I spent in Berlin.
Yes.
And then...
what was it during wartime or after that?
It was the beginning of the war.
Beginning of the war, really?
Yes. We arrived, my father, my mother and I arrived by the Holland-American line, the Staatendamm.
You went from America to there?
No, we went by night train from Berlin to Rotterdam in Holland.
Yeah.
There we spent 3 days. My father had some business and he had to get his papers in order. And we then boarded ship, came to New York.
At the age of 6, did you say?
My age.
You were 6,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
And the year would have been 1945? No,
1939.
Yeah, 39. Correct. Okay, yeah, right.
Interestingly enough.
Yeah, right, gotcha, yeah.
The ship landed on a particular day in October, which is the last day of the month.
Right.
And it bewildered me because my uncle picked us up on the dock. It took all day to get the papers in order and to go through customs.
Was that New
like
York?
That.
You bounded? You came into New York?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
Actually, the ship docked in New Jersey.
Oh, right.
My uncle picked us up and took us by taxi through the tunnel. And in New York.
Yeah, and you were just young then, right?
I was 6 years old.
Boy.
And I said,
can you remember it, man?
Vividly.
Really?
I said,
That's great.
holy mackerel, my Uncle Court was correct. These people are crazy. Because I saw people running down into the street, dressed as ghosts.
Well, it was a Halloween. It's a Halloween, right? Yeah, right.
And
yeah, right.
I said, my Uncle Court was correct. These people are crazy. Look at that.
Yeah.
And curiously enough, Halloween has been a significant day in my life throughout my life. I was drafted on Halloween, which I think is very inappropriate.
Wow, yeah, right. That's a horror story all in itself. Yes. Is that for the Second War? Then no, it couldn't be. I can't. No, I got the dates are all kind of crazy.
I was drafted during the Korean War.
Korea. Now you're getting into. Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
I spent 2 years, my 21st year and my 22nd year and my 24th year in the Army. Which also was a tale of horror. Most of us, especially those here living in New York, in the radius of MNN, think of New York as our environment.
Yeah.
It's not. Every nation has its farmers, and most societies are farmers, not urban people.
I guess on the world scale, certainly, right. Absolutely, sure. That does make sense. It's true,
I never thought of that. So I was surprised and bewildered when I got drafted in the Army, and here I was together with all these American hillbillies. And I said, are they putting me on? Are they kidding me?
Yeah. So you're about 19 or 20 or something?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
And I said, can they be that stupid?
Yeah.
And apparently it is. Most countries and most armies are made up of farmers. The French army, the American army, the Russian army, Japanese army, any country. Most societies are farmers.
Farmers, It's certainly been that way all the long spread of history, or modern history.
And we don't think of it.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
It bewildered me. I couldn't believe. I thought they were putting on an act.
Had you gone to college or school?
Not at the time. No, I went to college after I got out of the Army on the GI Bill.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Which is really a worthwhile thing.
Yeah.
I went to City College, which is free to begin with.
Yeah.
And my GI Bill paid my expenses for books and all that sort of stuff.
What did you study? I mean, liberal arts or what?
Well, I studied theater at the School of Performing Arts.
Yeah, okay.
And then after...
Is that the one they made a television program about?
Correct. Fame, yes.
We're going to live forever.
Yes.
That's
correct.
That was a really happening place or something with
young,
interesting talent.
Most unusual.
Were you thinking of becoming an actor? Or
yes, I was.
You were, okay.
I did think. I did want to be an actor, and I did act the first 5 years of my adult life.
Yeah, right.
And I was very, very fortunate. The principal, Franklin J. Keller, devised a concept whereby young students could take an audition for the school and study dance, drama, or music for 3 or 4 years. New York City schools have a junior high school.
Okay.
So they make junior high school 3 years and then senior high school 3 years. Those who are out of town have a 4-year high school because they don't have the junior high school that precedes it.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Franklin J. Keller was a very interesting and very unusual principal who grasped the concept that the performing arts would endeavor young people to learn their vocation and to learn it well. His concept, he had a formula for it.
I didn't know that. Okay, yeah.
To audition each student to see if they had the aptitude, not that they just wanted to hit drumsticks and make noise, but who actually had the ability to perform whatever discipline they wanted to study.
In the theatrical arts? Like
correct.
So you mean, in theater.
Dance, drama, or music.
Yeah.
Secondly, Franklin J. Keller, the principal, interviewed personally each teacher to make sure that they didn't want just a plum job, but had the aptitude to work with children and had the compassion to nurture their talents, whatever they may be.
Yeah, it's a special capability,
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And he did very well with that. Practically every one of his teachers that he selected, with the exception of one, and he's very famous because in the Broadway show Fame,
and the film.
Yeah. They think of it, he's named Mr. Carp.
Carp like a fish?
Yes, because he was destructive to the talents of the pupils he was to teach.
Help me out a minute here now. In that school, I thought they were preparing people to be in show business,
correct,
not to be in the society in general.
Both.
They weren't were they preparing them to be in society, like teachers and things like that?
No, but several did go on to teach.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, I loved the school, I loved the teachers, I loved the whole concept, so I tried to be there early for class and always sit in the first or second row to learn, because I loved my teachers, I loved the subjects, the whole concept. I didn't miss one day or 1 hour.
You liked the school and educational process you were part of,
And one day I was early for class.
I hated school, but
I was the first one there, and there was somebody else there. And so I assumed he was a new student. So I introduced myself, I talked with him. I said, this is a terrific school, the teachers are wonderful, the courses are good, I'm enjoying it all, etc. He chatted with me a little bit. And then when the bell rang, we entered to go to our classes. I took a seat in the first row. He strode up to the front of the class.
He was the teacher?
He was the teacher. He was a new teacher. He says, I'm the new drama teacher here in the school.
That was
my name is Sidney Lumet.
Oh my gosh.
But you may call me Sid.
Oh wow.
And
Isn't that something? Wow.
He was terrific. He was terrific.
Wow. Big name,
Yes, and he taught for 2 years when he decided that he couldn't live, unfortunately, on the teacher's salary. So he left, went into television.
Is that part of the school system? The New York City school system, the school for the performing arts? Is it part of the school's educational system?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But
because it seems like showbiz, it's like...
Correct, it is. It is.
Is it still going?
No, I was just about to go into this.
Okay.
The old saying is, war is too important to be left to the generals.
Right.
Education is too important to be left to the educators.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And the New York City school system did the same mistake. The school from the first day was a success because the...
enthusiasm of the youth, maybe? Everybody wants to be a star when you're a young kid.
But
or not everybody, a lot.
The newspapers, and at that time there wasn't any television, there was radio, etc. They came in and interviewed the students and the teachers and told about it. It was a big thing to begin with. But again, as I say, the educators didn't understand the concept. They said, if it's so good, let's make it a bigger school. That's not the point. The point.
Spell it out,
The point is to audition every applicant to make sure they have the aptitude.
Like that other fellow you mentioned earlier in this interview. What was his name again? The one who wanted to make sure they were ready to take...
Franklin J. Keller.
And he's
the principal.
Okay.
So the Board of Education built a gigantic school opposite Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts in New York. They built the building.
It was going there? It was there?
No.
Where it is now?
Yes.
But it wasn't there then.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I got a little mixed up. Yeah.
They built the building, and they have 2,000 students.
Wow.
With 2,000 students, what's the sense of auditioning anybody? Just let it open the doors, everybody come in.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but if
2,000 students.
Well, I don't know. You need 1,000 teachers. You know, have a big thing and everything, room for everybody at the opportunities of life or something.
No, you can't select the creme de la creme out of that many people.
Oh, and you think show business is a matter of the creme de la creme?
Well, who just wants to?
Well, what about
humming a tune?
So how about teaching physicists? Are they not all creme de la creme? You're teaching
physicists,
a lot of people.
That's something else.
Or no, some other discipline other than being a showbiz person.
Well, this was supposed to be opposite Lincoln Center. It's supposed to be for dance, music, drama, maybe one or two other things.
And show business.
Yeah, but what?
Yeah, well, no, I'm just saying that's their curriculum. Other schools have social science or biology or other things, and you got creme de la creme there. You have some leaders in every field and all that.
Yes, but biology is not part of dance, music, and drama.
No, I know that, yeah.
And that's what the school was supposed to be.
You think there's something unique about people who are in show business?
No, I don't.
Oh.
Franklin J. Keller did.
Yeah, right.
The principal.
Yeah.
Now, this is a sad story. He was a principal of a vocational school here in Lower Manhattan called Metropolitan Vocational High School.
Uh-huh.
The building still stands, but it's now an old age home.
Mm-hmm.
Or not an age home, a home for senior citizens to recreate themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, the building is still there, but it's not as a school.
Mm.
So with 2,000 students, what is the sense of auditioning? You just open the door and let anybody come in that wants to.
Well, you're making a premise that I have a little hard time understanding. There's 2,000. I don't quite understand. There's always going to be some people that don't have it. In any disciplines, a lot of writers, but there's not very many, Abraham Lincolns or people with a magic pen or something, Same with showbiz, right?
More.
Yeah, more so maybe. Even.
Yes.
Only a few stars get to be stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interestingly, you should mention Abraham Lincoln, because I like the story of Abraham Lincoln. He walked 17 miles each way. He only had 3.5 years of actual school attendance.
But he had super good electric lights to read everything by.
He had no electric lights
at all. I know, I'm making a joke, John. I'm making a joke, He read it by fire.
Okay.
You ever try to read by firelight?
Yeah,
it's flickering on and off, and
he's taught himself by candlelight.
Yeah.
Now, George W. Bush.
We're going to put him in the same sentence as Abraham Lincoln.
Has a Harvard degree, a master's Harvard degree.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Harvard gave it to him because his father donated some money to endow Harvard.
That's how they got that big fountain, right? They got that, the big fountain. You know the one I mean.
No,
no,
doesn't matter.
No.
Anyway.
I'm kidding.
Which one?
It's called what they call a joke in show business.
I don't get jokes very well. Which one do you assume had the better education?
Who?
Abraham Lincoln or George W. Bush, who got a master's degree from Harvard?
Yeah, well, I have to think of a master's degree
Abraham
from Harvard.
Lincoln got no degrees whatsoever.
None whatsoever. He walked 17 miles if he could and read by a candlelight.
Right.
And Abraham Lincoln, that's Abraham Lincoln. Then there's George W. Bush
right.
with all kinds of accolades and kudos from the leaders of the educational community.
Well,
My guess is, I think I put my money on Abraham, I think.
But you can document. I always say, don't believe me because I'm biased. I'm very, very biased.
Are you biased?
Yes.
Of what? Against what? What are you for and what are you against?
I'm biased in my opinions.
Oh, okay.
Self-taught.
Yeah, autodidact, that's called.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, that's the term. You'd like that term if you're
Yes,
an
I do.
autodidact. Yeah.
Is the best way to learn.
Couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't agree with you more. Yeah.
So, whenever possible, I urge everyone.
Educate thyself.
Really, yes.
And think how easy it is to educate yourself now
It is
with the
today.
internet and everything.
It
It's
is today.
incredible.
When
Everything's available.
When I was going to college, I had to every Saturday I had to go down in New York City
to the stacks.
to the main public library, the reference room. You had to fill out a piece of paper with the books you wanted. Then they would go down to the basement and bring the books up.
All dusty.
And I spent all day in the research room getting the information for my term papers, etc.
Yeah.
Today, it's all available on your laptop.
Right.
It is amazing.
It is to me.
It's such a wonderful.
It's like a miracle. Yeah,
yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah, and it's getting more so all the time.
Yes.
Particularly, it's moving into multimedia now.
Yeah. Well, you have to be careful.
Yeah. Okay.
This diffuses the strength of what you're learning.
Oh, you think so? Yeah.
Yes,
The
because
multimedia does.
yeah, because
Really?
the individual themselves has to have the impetus and the determination
Grit, true grit.
to educate themselves.
What do you think? Yeah.
It shouldn't be a
don't
piece of
think-
cake
yeah, that's
or
interesting.
cheesecake to be presented
I
to you.
agree with you completely in everything, except I don't agree with you the impetus. I think the autodidacts are the best educated people.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you're making it as though they're doing something they don't want to do.
No,
I
no,
think
no, no,
autodidacts
no.
are doing what they want to do, and
Well-
people should be doing what they want to do,
Yeah.
rather than what somebody else
If you
thinks
do
they
it,
should do.
if you do it yourself
All these
with your
prerequisites to
determination,
think.
you will do it much better.
I agree.
For example, I try to do most things myself. In other words, I clean, I sew,
You sew?
Yeah, I sew. I like this. I have a sewing machine. I do my own sewing. I do practically everything myself. Not because I can. It's because I want to. Because if I do it, I know I'm going to do it the right way, the way I want it done.
You seem to have a lot of faith in yourself.
Well, I'm determined to learn as much as I can.
And if you do it, it'll be done right.
Correct.
Yeah.
When I walk into a room, when I walk into a room,
it's familiar to me with a lot of people. Yeah.
With a group of people, I want to be the most stupid person in that room.
Why is that? Because
then I can learn.
Oh, I see.
If I'm the
you're
smartest,
ready to soak it up, new stuff,
yeah.
and become good.
Yeah.
Rather than schlep along.
Yeah.
An easy step.
If I'm the
on
most,
easy street, you could drift along on easy street all through your life without taking any discipline.
Yeah.
But an autodidact is not only learning, but they're also self-disciplined.
Yes. And
Prussian. Prussian. Is that Prussian?
Yeah, well...
You were talking about Prussia.
That's a matter of opinion.
Well, I wonder what you think.
Well, I think.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, we're friends.
I think, therefore I am, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Somebody said that, yeah, right.
So
we got to get to theater, to television if we don't mind, because I think of you as as a director.
Yes.
In television, you said all of these skills fit into what is needed for the role of a director, and you've worked in all the big houses, the big major networks, and so forth as a director, if I'm not mistaken.
You are a bit mistaken.
Oh, okay.
I only worked a few days at NBC freelance a couple of times.
Oh.
But I was a staff director at the ABC television network.
What's a staff director?
As opposed to freelance.
Oh.
Most people today work freelance.
Well, you fill me in. I don't familiar.
Freelance,
I'm not
they
familiar.
hire you for the day or for a period of time.
Oh, I see.
While I was staff, ABC had...
You had a contractor?
No, I was an employee.
Employee,
and they had 4 types of employee. a staff director for news, for sports, for operations, and for soap operas.
Is it still like that?
No.
No. Okay.
Today it's mostly freelance.
Freelance.
Yeah.
Okay.
In other words, they hire you for a
particular project, or
a project. Correct. For that particular project.
Does that give them more leeway in hiring and firing
Yes.
and all that? With
Yeah.
and there's no union contracts to worry about or anything.
Well, there are, but
they're overridden.
the Directors Guild of America negotiates a contract.
They try, but can they get it down? If
Yes, they
everybody's
do.
freelance can be fired at will.
No.
Or
they
how
cannot.
does it really work?
Well, you're hired for a project.
Okay.
And you're hired either to fulfill that project or whatever the two parties agree.
The two parties being the people hiring and the people being hired?
Correct.
Those are the two parties.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
yeah. For example, any director may be fired for no reason whatsoever within, I believe, the first 5 days. I'm not sure about that anymore because it's been some time.
Or that was the case. Then we were there, yeah.
Because a director may be hired because of his sense of comedy and then find himself working for a soap opera or a drama or something else to which
well, why wouldn't
they're
they
not
keep
students.
that? Why wouldn't the directors of the whole over shebang keep you in comedy if you're good at comedy rather than stick you in drama where you're not good? That would be in their interest, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
and what are the
circumstances?
what are the characteristics of a really good director? And do directors matter in terms of the quality of television production able to be achieved? And how does that fit into a business model that wants to get more people to watch because the product is good so that they can sell more cornflakes? Well, or for whatever reason. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, some management people believe that certain directors are suited for comedy or drama.
Then they ought to keep the people suited for comedy in the comedy shows.
Correct.
Right.
But it could be that, let's say, arbitrarily, an employee is hired to direct the program for 15 days, and they work for arbitrarily 10 days, and they have he's 5 days more on the books. They want him to do something and to which he's not suited.
Mm. Well, that's where he won't show up so well. If he's trying to do something not suited, he won't show up very well playing that role.
Correct.
Usually.
Yeah. So the contract naturally takes into consideration an arbitration, a discussion about this kind of situation.
Is there some union that will argue for the rights of the individual director?
Yeah, the Directors Guild.
Do they have
of
any
America.
clout or not? I mean,
very
many
strong
aspects. Oh, they do.
Oh.
They do. So they have some say.
The Directors Guild of America is one of the strongest unions in the industry.
Okay, why do you think more strength in the Directors Guild than, say, the actors or the producers or the whatever makes up the business?
Yeah. I assume I don't know.
Okay.
But I assume it's their skill.
Yeah.
And the two things that I
and I want to get at what those skills are. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
In one of the Directors Guild of America's membership voted or selected me on a couple of negotiating teams to negotiate contracts every 3 years or so.
For others. You're negotiating for other directors? Is that I don't know.
No. I negotiate for the Directors Guild of America.
Oh, for the guild. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. There's a team. It's not just one person.
Yeah.
It's a group of people, and they negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
On one occasion, it came to a disagreement, and the Directors Guild went on strike.
Really?
For 5 hours.
Wow.
And then the network said, okay, we give up.
When was that?
I don't recall.
Okay, right, okay. You don't probably remember what the issue was, so whatever. But okay, that's interesting.
One thing I am...
And it stands out in your memory, yeah?
Yeah. One thing I'm very, very perturbed about, and I mentioned it to people, On one occasion, our members gave up. We normally doesn't mean every time, negotiate 3.5% increase in our salary because of inflation, etc. But on one occasion, the membership wanted a good health care, and the membership said they will give up their 3.5% for 3 years, give up their money to get a good health plan.
Yeah, really.
And we did achieve that. We got a very good health plan. It covered practically everything. And then...
That was before Medicare and stuff.
Possibly, yeah. And then the Walt Disney Company purchased the ABC television network.
Okay, yeah.
And they substituted another part of the health care for what we had negotiated. I don't want to mention the name of the company.
Okay, fair enough.
Because it's, first of all, it's not material, and second of all, I don't think it's necessary for the sake of our discussion here. I called up the vice president of labor relations at ABC, and I said, who I'm new, because I negotiated with him for 2 weeks across the table, etc. He was a very nice person, etc. He says, John, don't get excited, you're covered. I said, what do you mean? He says, you're covered. It's just that the coverage doesn't cover you.
Now that's a little tricky of wordplay.
That's a lawyer's
That's when I'd begin to look up at the sky and say, what's going on?
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm, to this day, very annoyed because it touches me personally, and my responsibility to the membership for whom I negotiated.
Yeah, okay.
As part of the negotiating team.
Right.
We negotiated in good faith. We got a very good contract. We gave up our salaries for 3 years
to get the health
care.
Yeah.
And then the Disney company.
How can you give up salary for 3 years? You'd starve.
No. Increased.
Oh, increase. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, of course.
Just status
I was just
quo.
seeing a bunch of starving people, having to get into the health care to get intravenous feeding to get their nutrition because they were starving. But
I don't think
sorry.
No,
it's not that.
Directors will starve.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It reminds me of a story. Once I was in the tape room doing some editing, and I looked up in television at ABC, CBS, and NBC, all the places there. Wherever you are working in the company, there are television sets showing you what's on the air, what's rehearsing,
like here,
what's doing.
At M&N,
Right. And I looked up and I saw one woman that intrigued me. I said, wow, I'd like to meet that woman.
What was there about her that intrigued you? Do you want to go into it? Maybe we don't have to go into it.
No.
Measurements or anything.
She was playing the part of a management person.
Oh, okay.
And she was very dynamic, very sure of herself.
Good actress.
And intelligent.
Yeah.
I said, I want to meet that person.
Yeah, right.
And sure enough...
Were you like wanting a date or something? Were you thinking that way?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough. A young man.
And then
it's been known to happen.
2 months later, 2.5 months later to be exact, luck would have it, opportunity, I was scheduled to direct her soap opera.
Okay.
So after you go through the first sequence, the first reading, and the director and the associate director make notes, etc. And I went out to talk to this actress about the way she portrayed her part. And she looked at me bewildered, etc. And I couldn't believe it. She didn't understand what I was talking about. And that bewildered me. I can understand an intelligent person playing the part of a stupid person.
Yeah.
But I can't understand a stupid person playing the part of an intelligent person.
Well, there's certain very interesting thoughts that come to my mind with that sentence. But spell it out for me a little bit.
I couldn't believe that this actress was that dumb or that untalented. I couldn't believe it because she played the part so well. And I told this to a couple of directors. And one director with whom I was very close and friendly, and he put his arm around me.
Son, you'll come to understand when you're my age. How's that? Something like that?
Something like that.
You'll understand women when you get to be my age, right?
He said, if all actresses were smart,
yes,
they'd be directors.
Oh, I see. Now listen, this is all very interesting idiosyncratic stuff. Now tell me about the role of the director in the production of television programming at our major networks. What is the director's role? And what spell it out for us a little bit. What and where do they fit in terms of the overall industry pattern?
To a great extent, it's what the director intends to be, he or herself. In other words,
you mean herself, apart from being a director?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it depends on the individual. Each one of us, each individual, determines how they operate, how they proceed, how they interact with other people on their own. Some use humor, some use friendliness, some don't say anything. They just allow the other person to interact with them and use the Socratic method, where the other person asks questions, and by that you ferret out the answer on their own.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So it depends. Each of us individual, each of us mammals, have our own method of communicating with other people.
Yeah.
We all communicate differently. By the way,
yes, sir.
Let
me ask you something.
Surely.
Is there a difference between a director in television than a director in the motion picture industry?
Yes.
The director in the motion picture is usually thought of as being one of the definitive parts of the creative part of Alfred Hitchcock. And names stand out.
That negates what I said earlier, that each director uses their own techniques and their own abilities to communicate with others.
I don't think it necessarily negates it, if it may, or maybe it just illuminates it.
Right.
But the director is very important in film. Is the director important in theater?
Yes.
Or in television, I'm saying.
But
there's a distinction between television and film.
It's a different method.
Okay, if you can spell it out for a lot of there's probably a lot of young people out there who would think about getting into the business.
For example, you and I are about 18 inches apart from each other.
About that, right. You want me, I got to, okay, go on, right.
Now,
good guess,
each of us interact with each other, and this is our circle of intimacy.
Right.
If we get too close, the other person will back away.
That's true.
You're invading their private space.
Right.
Some people prefer that. That's immaterial. That depends on how their personality interacts with others. But generally, 18 inches is the space of intimacy. If you get too close, you're invading their personal space.
Are we about 18 inches now?
Yeah. Well, then now we're 12.
Are you feeling more uncomfortable?
Yes, I am.
Are you feeling very uncomfortable?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Seems to work. You're right, I think. Yeah, I had to test it empirically, but yes.
But generally speaking,
18 inches. Okay, that's interesting. And in fact, that's something that is part of the human condition. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you can each one of the people in our audience today can try this out on their own.
Yeah.
When they meet somebody on the street or at home.
I don't advise you walking up to get closer to somebody at a bus stop and getting closer than 18 inches to their eyeballs.
That's correct.
I don't recommend it. You're likely to find unusual atomic bomb reactions
Not
in
quite
New York City.
Dangerous. Maybe in North Korea.
No, I know. I was just thinking emotionally or something. You're likely to get punched in the nose, as they would say. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Some people will get very hostile.
I would think they would. If I get like this, you tend to get.
It's very.
And you're very sanguine. Sorry. You got that great gesture in your eye. How you worked that out? And did you learn how to do that in the arts school or something? No. That was a very good. That was a very good look. You know. Yeah. There you go. Oh, that was what made you such a. I can't do that.
No.
I can't do that. Can you do that?
A very peculiar situation happened
can't do that.
when I was.
How did you learn to do it again? Do it again.
I didn't learn to do it.
Come on, do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
When I was about 7 or 8 years of age, I was on the street with a friend. We were playing that ball game where you try to hit a penny on the sidewalk with the ball, and the other guy catches it.
I don't know that game, but
doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's a New York City greatest game.
Anyway, I hit the penny with the ball, and the ball bounced off, and I went after the ball, and I was so intent on getting the ball, I didn't see that there was a supermarket cart.
Between you and the penny?
No,
or the ball?
On the street.
Yeah.
But here was a delivery cart, and the push part of the cart was broken, and a piece of steel was sticking out like this.
I'm beginning to get worried for this scenario. And I'm beginning to get nervous.
And if
I feel a hurt coming on.
Yes, definitely.
I feel a hurt coming on.
So I was so intent on getting the ball, I didn't see it, and I went to grab it.
Oh, God.
And it hit me right over here.
Oh, boy. Did it penetrate? Or?
Yes, it did penetrate.
Oh, my God. Did it break a bone, part of your cranium?
No, but I needed a stitch. And,
just one?
The ambulance.
I got many stitches,
ambulance was called, took me to the hospital, etc. Doctors were very pleased that they only needed one stitch to sew this up, etc.
And a Band-Aid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at that time, we were in America only about 2 years, or a year and a half.
Oh, that was when you just arrived from Berlin? Yeah.
Yeah. And my father...
And the war was beginning to rage, you know.
Correct. Poland was already invaded. My father was very reluctant to make any waves, to do anything, to lose his possibility of safety in the United States, so he didn't say a thing.
Yeah.
And he could have sued the supermarket chain for such a dangerous...
But he didn't want to risk it,
Correct.
Yeah.
And to this day, and it must have severed a nerve, or it did sever a nerve, but also a muscle. So I can raise one eyebrow without interfering with the other.
Do it again. Can you get that up close? Oh my gosh. That's a money maker. You can do that. Did you get that up close? That's really good. No, you could take that into the carnival and make out like Bandit. You know, I can't. Look, I'm going to try. I can't do it.
Nobody's willing to pay for it.
But I don't want to get hit in the head for it in order to be able to do it.
Well, the thing is, if I want to look astounded,
boy, that's really something. Yeah.
And
that's a one-shot.
I tell my friends, when I was in military intelligence in the Army, and we were sitting at a table across where there's some members of the other country there.
Oh, country, not sex, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We could actually communicate by Morse code.
Now, come on, wait a minute. That's really good. Yeah. Tick, tick, tick. If you know the more, that is something. That's really something.
But nobody.
Boy, you got a winner in that. Boy, you can make your way in the world that way.
Nobody ever utilized that talent.
Now, tell me more about the role of the director in the production of television fare. Do they have an important role as, say, in the making of a motion picture? They seem to be the whole feel and everything for a motion picture seems to be in the hands of the director. Is it the same with the television production? If not, what's the difference? Or if it's the same, let me know. And because I'm not so familiar with the role of a director in the theatrical presentation.
The first thing is, it depends.
Or on television, I'm sorry, television.
It depends on the individual and how they want to utilize their abilities. The second is their supervisors, who are the producers, who determine what they want the directors to do.
Keep in mind, my question was comparing the motion picture industry. You have Cecil B. DeMille's, or people who produce. I think the people who produce get the money. And then the creative part of it is the director, who is the one who's responsible for making an Academy Award performance.
Yes.
The director is important. Is it the same with television, the television industry?
Well, it depends on the individual. All the individuals interact with each other, and depends on their ability to negotiate
do directors have to worry about negotiating a contract, or do they get on with the actual making of a good program and getting a good performance out of the performance? That's like in movies, right?
Yeah.
A director.
But
now, do you have to have a good psychological rapport with the actors or the people? What role does the director play in television?
Remember, I mentioned the 18 inches of our sphere of influence and our safety.
Yeah.
And that varies with the medium. For example,
yes,
television has a certain medium where we're together.
Yeah,
usually
we're too close, but then that's good for the camera.
Yeah. Now, in film,
yes,
film is more intimate. The camera and the microphone is much closer to the actor or the participant.
But can't that be done by the bringing the focus of the camera, the television camera, in closer?
I'm talking about the film camera.
Okay, talk about the film camera. Yeah.
In film, the microphone is on a boom, and it comes closer because the camera gives you a headshot, so the microphone is closer to you and more intimate.
Yeah.
The camera also comes closer to you and shows you in a more intimate light. In television, the medium is more natural. So there's a little more distance between the two.
But don't they have still the audio problems with that as they do with the filmmaking?
No.
Why? What's the difference between the audio on the film and the audio on the on the theater or of the television?
But I'm glad you misspoke and said theater.
Yeah.
Because in theater,
it's all one big showbiz. Yeah.
I studied theater.
Yeah.
In theater,
you're not supposed to be way over there. You're way off camera now.
That's what
your director is going to be very upset with you getting out of camera.
That's what I'm trying to show.
Okay, well, you're making the point.
I did it purposely. Because in theater, the performer is on stage and the audience is at a great distance.
That's true. I understand that.
So you project not only your voice to reach the last.
You have to get to the back row.
But also all your mannerisms
are overdone or overstressed.
Rather than having a little butterfly, you have a big butterfly.
Yeah, because you're so small, you're just a little thing out there in that big stage.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it depends on the medium.
That's why I'm asking you the difference between television and and movies.
The greatest distance, of course, is an amphitheater or a stage.
Yeah.
Then television, film is more intimate because the camera can come closer to you and the microphone is closer to you. Is it
because of the thing that makes it possible for it to do that?
The technology
is because of the technology of audio that makes that possible? Why can they come in closer with a one shot on film than they can on a television shot?
It's a technology and also the history. Television is a little bit more distance than film by tradition. Don't forget.
Okay, it's a daughter to theater, isn't it? Yeah.
Correct.
More. Yeah.
For example, one of the stories.
You shouldn't stay over there because our camera people, the director of this thing here, is going to be very upset with you being out of range.
I was trying to make a point.
Yeah. Imp.
Excuse me. So I had learned in studying theater to project not only my voice but my mannerisms and my entire environment.
That's theater, I think. Yeah. And what about television? Can it be restrained more as with movie? And what about movies? You got movies, theater, television, and theater, movies, and television. Those are the major things, right?
Well, that depends on your preference. But as far as intimacy is concerned, theater or the amphitheater By the way, the Greek theater is much larger. And then television is narrower. Film is even more intimate. Because the microphone and the camera comes closer to the participants.
Well, why can't you just bring the microphone? Can't you do it with audio extension of the audio through the air without it being a wire or something?
No.
Don't they have ways of doing that to control the audio?
Yes, but it sounds differently.
It doesn't work.
That's correct. For example,
it'll work in film, but it won't work in... No.
For example, let's say we're using film as an example.
Yeah.
And I bring in the microphone.
Yeah.
Now, if, let's say, I boost...
Why can't you keep the microphone there, but the sound is being picked up at 10 feet as well as 15 feet with clear accuracy and so forth? Why can't they do that? Why don't they make a microphone like that?
They can. That's not the problem.
Okay.
You would be what's called off mic. You would sound like you're coming from the next room because you're at a distance from the microphone.
So you're asking the audience to do something that is impossible by the laws of audionics or something?
No,
you can't have
that. That's not being very explicit.
They have remote things. They have remote microphones and stuff.
Yes, of course. But
they don't work well enough in movies?
It's the matter of air.
Air.
Sound travels through air.
That's true.
And the participant...
You're out of range again. You realize that?
The participant...
You realize you're in the middle of a television process here.
The participant... You prefer this.
Yeah, that is a killer accent. You got your way made for you.
The participant...
You could do that in the middle of Times Square and probably get a lot of
I don't think I'd see it.
Maybe not. Yeah.
The participant is at a greater distance to the receiver. That's the point.
Okay.
Because voice travels through air. And it's the distance that the voice has to travel in air. Air actually retards.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's that on the other. Now, what about the other thing? Like a director in film, you think of a director can bring it out, the emotions out of the person. We sit down and we get the inner feelings of what the character is expressing, and they can bring them out, and it's almost like a psychological thing where you.
It is a psychological thing.
Is it the same on television as that? With television drama?
Yes, it depends.
It's the same skill set.
Yes.
For a director as it is in the film. But does the director get as much attention in the television as it does in the movie? Because when you see a movie, you say, who directed? That's the main thing you want to see. Well, the star, they're very famous and everything. But the director,
interestingly enough,
or Mel Brooks or whoever, they have a way of their own. They got a reputation. And
a lot of the public gives credit to the actress or the actor.
But they give great credit to film directors.
Yes. And not realizing it is the director who brought that emotion out of the character.
In film as well as television.
Yes.
I mean, as well as film.
Sometimes they don't.
In film and television, that skill set is as relevant to a television director as it is to a film director?
Yes.
Okay.
It depends on the individuals, how they are able to utilize it.
So you got to be a bit of a psychologist.
Yes.
To be a director.
Absolutely correct.
Is that true?
Not absolutely, but
very, very relevantly correct.
Yes.
For the real performance, to draw the best out, not just adequate. Yeah, is that right? You're a Prussian, right?
I studied psychology at City College. Precisely for that. Not to find out about myself, what are my neuroses. And
have you got it all straight now?
You never get it all straight. You never get it all straight.
Well, I see you've learned something of wisdom. Yeah, right. No.
But yes, you try to modify, you try to learn as much about yourself as possible. Don't forget, each of our emotions changes moment to moment.
That's true. Yeah.
When you begin a sentence with a thought, your emotion changes already by the time you reach the end of the sentence.
You think, yeah, right. I guess that's probably true. Yeah. Right.
Well, think about it.
Yeah. Well, the directors would be thinking about that.
Yeah.
And the language, the the beauty and the poeticness of language and those kind of things are things that the director is concerned with.
Yeah. Yeah, and also it depends. I'm glad you mentioned language, because it depends on the language.
Yeah, really.
Yes. As you know, I speak German fluently.
Yeah.
And I speak German without an English accent, and I speak English without a German accent.
Yeah, right.
But what is interesting, in German, the past tense of a noun isn't expressed until you get the end of the sentence.
Give us an example.
In German, the past tense of some verbs is really at the end of a very long sentence.
Right. I had to do German for the PhD thing. I remember blah 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 of the blah blah blah.
Right.
Yeah, it was really strange.
There are many times when the listener is listening, is come on to the end of the sentence,
already.
So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it can be a great wordplay, though, can't it? If you go between the two.
Yes.
Must be for you. You can handle both. Well, you can translate the words as you're saying in English almost at the same time, and in German at the same time almost. Can you do that? You
yes.
being
yes.
I mean, what do you call that word? What do you call it when you know it completely? You know,
fluently.
Fluently, yeah. You're fluent in both. Yeah.
This brings me to an interesting story. I was as I mentioned, with military intelligence.
And we ought to say you were the Directors Guild. And look at this. Have we gotten good pictures of this? Can we bring that up? What is this? This is an award or something?
No. It's just a nameplate.
It's just a name. But let me see. It says Directors Guild of America, Inc. Annual Award Dinner. February 12, 19...
the date is not important.
1922.
No.
John Steinmetz. No.
The Directors Guild gives an annual dinner. And then as a place setting, they give you one of these chairs.
Well, that's a good way to get your lower third. Yeah, right. You were saying the lower third, and I'm unwilling to think there's all wrapped up, and that was a sort of personal thing. Yeah.
Now I forgot my train of thought.
Well, you better get it quick because you only got a couple minutes left. Okay. A zinger. You said a lot of wise stuff. Yeah.
What was that? What were we talking about?
Well, we were talking about the director and so forth, and you were talking about the two languages. And if you do it in German and you put the noun or the verb at the end,
When
I know what you mean because I had to do German. Barfuß über der Weißglut. Does that make any sense to you? How do you like my pronunciation?
Not very well.
Barfuß über der Weißglut. That's barefoot over the white glow.
Yes.
That was about people who had to walk over by
But the pronunciation is not very good. I'm sorry to tell you.
You don't think my German is good?
No.
Well, neither did the people, but I did sneak by. Yeah.
But here's something interesting. It's not the word that makes a language.
No, the language.
It's the accent. And we found this out by error when I was in military intelligence. Naturally, I was assigned in Nuremberg undercover, and most of our people were young people in their early 20s. We wanted to meet pretty girls.
Of course.
So if we're with a German girl, how can we say, listen?
Or even smart girls. There is some of that going on in 20s when you're 20.
We wanted to talk without the...
Of which there are many, incidentally.
We were almost out of time. And we wanted to talk without the German girls understanding.
Hurry up, you got 30 seconds.
Quick! We decided the German girls would know English and German. How do we do it? We found out by using a different accent.
Oh, yeah?
In other words,
quick!
If I talk English, Chinese, they think we talk Chinese.
I think you better start keeping German. We're out of time. John, good talking to you. We're out of time. Okay, we're right out of time.
See you next time.
A tremendous learning lesson you did for us, and thank you very much. And thank you for viewing, and thank you for Josie Ann, and thank you for coming back again tomorrow. So do turn in, and it was really, really interesting. Barfuß über der Weißglut doesn't get it, huh?
No,
okay.
Doesn't cut it.
All right.